this is another place again where the Endangered Species Act was never meant to stop anything. It was simply meant to create a construct from which we can make decisions and balance trade-offs.
Hi, and welcome to Illinois Corn TV. I'm Megan Dwyer, Director of Conservation and Nutrient Stewardship. Today, I'm talking with Kraig McPeek from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Kraig, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Megan, great to be here.
Great. All right, we're going to swim right into these questions. So many farmers want to do right by the land, but also need to stay profitable. So how does your office and the work you do support farmers balancing conservation and production?
Thanks, Megan. Just appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, to start off, just a bit about myself. Growing up on a dairy farm, Northwest Illinois, a small red and white Holstein herd that, kind of had I tell this to many groups I talk to. I spent the first 21 years of my life trying to get off the farm and then, realized I'll spend the rest of my life to get back on. And I think that foundation is what I bring to the office and what I bring to the staff is this recognition that farmers and producers are conservationists by heart. It can be cliche in some groups, but not this one. They're the original conservationists. And so making sure that we understand that healthy soils, healthy farms, healthy land is the foundation of their profitability. And so when we can enter a conversation with someone knowing that that's where they're coming from, we can bring our technical support to them to really help them achieve their goals at the field scale, at the farm scale, and hopefully even at the watershed scale. So we really bring that can-do, balance those different goals to a problem and try to provide that technical support.
Can you share a little bit about how your work in your office works with the Army Corps to help ensure that our lock and dam system and inland waterways remain viable and allow us to move our products up and down the river?
Yeah, gosh, it's core, both Corps of Engineers and core in what we do here is with agriculture, but then most importantly with the river system, whether it's their dredging program or it's lock maintenance. And, in 1986, Congress identified the Upper Mississippi River as both a nationally significant navigation system, but also a nationally significant ecosystem. And billions of dollars on both sides for recreation, but also commerce and commodity movement up and down the river. And so, I think our philosophy here, which I drive into the staff, is that if either of those become weaker for something we're doing, then we're failing. And so when we're looking at dredge material disposal, where can we put that maybe has a beneficial use to the ecosystem? When we're looking at lock maintenance and how can we work with the Corps to offset certain environmental issues or provide additional recreational use on the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife Refuge, 240,000 acres for public use. And so how do we tie these things together? And I think that, again, is the foundation for how we work with the Corps, how we help them find solutions within the environmental, what they might see as constraints, but a lot of times we turn those into opportunities. And so that idea that they both must be strong and they're both nationally significant is the foundation of that, Megan.
Great, thank you. All right, moving to more of a hot button topic these days, the Endangered Species Act. We know this has been in place for over 50 years, but there's been some recent changes. EPA has released some of these strategies. And so we know that there's kind of two parts to this equation. There's the fish and wildlife component, and then there's the EPA side. Do you want to share a little bit about how Fish and Wildlife interacts with EPA and your role in things related to the Endangered Species Act and how that might impact an Illinois farmer?
Yeah, a couple of things there. Much like we provide our technical support to a local producer, we provide that technical support to federal agencies and state agencies and nonprofit groups. And again, we bring this can-do, find-a-way attitude to all of those problems. And so when we're looking at a chemical that might be used in a particular production system, we're bringing for the EPA side, how could we use that? How could we use this information to offset some impacts? And then we're working on local scale of finding unique ways to minimize drift and do things that target that use of that tool at the field scale for the intended use. This is another place, again, where the Endangered Species Act was never meant to stop anything. It was simply meant to create a construct from which we can make decisions and balance trade-offs. And so that's where we're working with EPA or the Corps of Engineers with the river or USDA, NRCS, FSA at different conservation programs. How do we balance mutual goals and objectives? And ultimately, the Endangered Species Act has all these nuanced tools that never stops anything. It just says, hey, let's take a minute and think about this. And if the trade-offs are worth it, then let's keep going. And so I think we bring, again, that can-do, find-a-way attitude to those problems, both small and large.
Kraig, so I'm thinking a little bit more about ESA, and for like our farm personally in Northwest Illinois, I know rusty patch bumblebee can be in the area. So what happens if I, as a farmer or a home gardener, I find a rusty patch bumblebee? Do I pretend I didn't see it? Do I need to call your office? Like, what is the best course of action to make sure we're being environmentally good stewards, as well as, understanding the rules around what we might find?
That's probably going to be my favorite question that you ask, Megan, because what I would tell somebody is take a minute and appreciate everything that you're doing on your farm that allows this bee to be there, and then keep doing it, because clearly you're doing right. You're doing right by the land if you have a profitable operation, and you're providing habitat for an endangered species. That's wonderful. There's absolutely no need to call our office. And I really hope, and what I'd like this interview to maybe help people is, don't be concerned. There's nothing in the law or in the act that will stop you from doing the things that you're already doing. So it's just wonderful. And so what I'd like for people to do is, again, just appreciate the moment, appreciate that what you're doing on that farm, what people maybe before you did on that farm, and that you're setting it up for the next generation to be both successful from a profitability standpoint, but successful in a healthy soils and healthy land standpoint. And so that's what I would say, Megan, is appreciate it, applaud yourself, give yourself a pat on the back, get a hot cup of tea, and just enjoy the moment.
Great. Well, you heard it here directly. There, you should be thankful if we see some of these things happening in our landscape. So, that's a situation where you say, no, don't call our office, just be proud of what you're doing. So what might be a situation where somebody should call your office or might find use, or there might be benefit from calling and reaching out?
Yeah. So again, 24 years I've worked with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and for 24 years I've tried to bring my agricultural upbringing into the workplace and into, to share that with my colleagues. I've worked from the Missouri River in Western Iowa all the way across the I-states to the Appalachia part of Ohio. And I can't think of a time where it's more rewarding than when a producer, a farmer, a landowner will call me and have, or our staff, and have a vision or a goal for either a parcel or their whole farm, and we're able to help them get there. In all fronts, whether it's erosion control or clean water, or, we bought this property, we bought this new farm, and I just want the creek to be able to have my grandkids swim in it. Like, what can we do? Like, those are the most rewarding, because again, it brings that fact that conservation and agriculture are not mutually exclusive. They're linked together. And when they're both healthy, we're doing right.
Now we're moving into one of our favorite parts of this show, where we get corny.
Oh, boy.
Not to be corny,
oh boy.
But why did the Fish and Wildlife Service agent break up the animal party?
I don't know, Megan. Why did they?
Because it was getting utterly out of control.
Oh, no. You did not just do that.
Well, thank you so much, Kraig. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Megan. Enjoyed it.